Welcome to our GMO presentation. Today we are focusing on should genetically engineered food be held for their question over sustainability. Before starting our presentation, I would like to introduce our group member. Our group is consist by 4 people. Patrick Ouyang, Ben Lee, Ferrari and I. Ben and Ferrari are focusing on the introduction part. Patrick and I was concerned about the conclusion. In the meantime, I'm the group leader for this group. Therefore, I also respond to manufacture the PowerPoint and lead our group mates. Now let's start our presentation. The content of our project. There are 3 parts, which are introduction, discussion, and conclusion. Introduction. The introduction about technology behind GMO development history, the base development situation today, and the comment of citizens. As for the discussion part, collect opinion from our classmates around 4 stands such as farmer, consumer, government, and related company. Regarding to conclusion, emphasize the stance we support and the situation of the existing problem of GMO. Now moving to introduction part. The content of introduction. Basic introduction, technology behind GMO, development history, the basic development situation today, and also the comment of the citizen. Okay, let's move the microphone to Ferrari and Ben.
Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. I want to talk about the GMO. This is a link of the introduction of the GMO, very detailed. And now I will talk about it easily. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. It can be defined as an organism such as a plant, an animal, or a microorganism. This organism's genetic material is altered by means of unnatural mating or an unnatural recombination. This technology is often referred to as modern biotechnology or genetic technology. Nowadays, it has been widely used in crop breeding in many countries. A lot of R&D companies have focused on this crop breeding, has focused on this biotechnology for a long time.
Let us know some technology behind GMO. Genetic engineering, also known as gene splicing technology or DNA recombination technology. Generally speaking, it is to take a certain gene of one organism, modify it, and then put it into the cell of another organism to modify the genetic chain of the organism directionally. Let us see the PowerPoint. There are 4 steps in the base operation of genetic engineering. There are 4 steps. The first is acquisition of target gene. The second is construction of gene expression vector, and the third is introduce the target gene into the reception cell. And the last step is detection and identification of target gene. And this is the recombination DNA. Okay, let us know some development history about GMO. In 1983, the world's first genetically modified crop tomato was born. In 1994, genetically modified tomato developed by Monsanto were approved for sale in the United States. In 1999, the transgenic hybrid rice developed by China Rice Research Institute passed the expert identification. With the rapid development of the research and development of genetically modified food product varieties and production have also doubled, and the problem related to genetically modified food are increasingly prominent. In 1999, genetically modified food plants were grown in 12 countries, with an area of 49.9 million hectares. Among them, the US is a big planter, accounting for 70% of the global planting. Many countries in the world have least modern biotechnology as a priority area of national development and have invested a large number of human material and financial resource to support it. But the development of GMO is uneven among countries and regions around the world. The biosafety protocol of the United Nations clearly gives the public the right to know and choose genetically modified food. In May 2001, the Chinese government promulgated the safety regulations on agricultural GMOs. On March 20, 2003, three regulations, including the measure for the management of agricultural GMO labeling, came into effect, requiring GMO labeling of sorghum, corn, and rapeseed GMFs, or they could not be imported or sold. Okay, let us know something about the basic development situation today. Since the 1970s, genetic engineering has made great progress. The application of gene transfer, gene application, and other technology has not only brought about unprecedented change in the research of the life science, but also shown promising application process in practical fields such as medicines and health, agriculture, and animal husbandry, food industry, and environmental protection. And in recent years, high yield, stable yield, and good quality crops have been obtained by using the method of genetic engineering. For example, the BT cotton. And in job production, some jobs are extracted directly from the tissue cells or blood of an organism. Due to the limitation of the source of raw materials, the price is very expensive. Genetic engineering can efficiently produce a variety of high-quality, low-cost drugs, such as insulin interferon and hepatitis vaccines. This is the interferon factory. Genetically engineered DNA probes are highly sensitive to detect viral and bacterial contamination in the environment. Indicator cultivated by genetic engineering can reflect environmental pollution very sensitively, but they are not easy to die in large number due to environmental pollution and can even absorb and transform pollutant. And this is the DNA probe.
And then I will talk about the comment of the citizen. This is the people who support GMO say. Of course, GMO can bring a huge economic benefit and improve the effectiveness to social. Compared with the traditional method to plant the crops, GMO is able to decrease a large amount of cost. It not only decreases the consumption of money, but also the labor and time. Here is the people who observe GMO state. Many people think that the patents of GMO are controlled by developing countries and a few large companies. Developing countries might pay large patent fees to use this technology, so that the development of GMO may be controlled by this big company. It may be causing a lot of political problems or conspiracy. That's all, thank you.
There are 4 stakeholders: farmer, consumer, R&D company, and also the government. As for the farmer part, did you consider about that when people extensive worry about safety of GM crops, the sales of the GM crops may reduce dramatically? Then, even though the productivity of GMO is higher than the conventional crops, farmers will end up losing money if they cannot sell them. In fact, the proportion of that situation is quite low. In general, every country will regulate GM food in the safety standard. Therefore, what is most often feared by a citizen is that the long-term effect of genetically modified food on their bodies. Back to our question: how GMO crops benefit to the farmer? As Ferrari said, GMO is any organism whose genetic material has been altered using genetic engineering techniques. As for how benefit to farmer, there are several advantages of GM cross, such as a high productivity, high vitality, cold-resist gene, drought-resistant gene, and pest-resistant gene. It also reducing the cost of the pesticide. Those are the advantages of GM cross. It is helpful to farmers for reducing the cost of using pesticide, the risk of suffering the drought and other weather situation. In addition, those are beneficial to farmer as farmer just concerned about the profit. If that is the way help them to ascend profit, they will totally support sustainable development of GMO. Comparing the difference between GM crops and conventional crops, it can be clearly seen that the size of the modified crop is larger than that is unmodified. Moving to the next part. GM crops increased 15% in photosynthetic efficiency. In addition, GM crops are less energy loss as hard. During the year 2008, the proportion of large amount of organic crops was larger than 50%, which means most farmers has received the benefit from producing GM crops. On the other example, cereal evolution just happened in this year. Cereal was developed by Yuan Longping. The cereal have several features: high productivity, stronger survival competitiveness, waterlogging resistance, saline alkaline resistance, lodging resistance, and resistant to disease and insect. Regarding those characteristics, farmers' profit may increase as higher productivity. Interestingly, the major trait is saline alkaline resistant, which means the cereals are available surviving on the saline alkaline soil. The utilization rate of land was improved by this research. On the other hand, this represents another breakthrough for genetically modified food. In the long run, the problem of GMO will solve step by step, and people worries will gradually disappear.
Let us stem from consumer aspect to discuss it. Obviously, when a new type of food is introduced to the public, safety must be the first consideration, followed by nutrition and taste. As for genetically modified food, people are afraid that after eating genetically modified food, its gene will change the gene chain of the human body as they enter the human body. I think this is an unnecessary worry. From a biological point of view, when food enters the food from the mouth through the esophagus to the stomach and small intestine for digestion and absorption, it does not participate in the process of human gene replication, let alone cause genetic mutations. Genetically modified foods, like non-genetically modified foods, are made up of amino acids, protein, and carbohydrate. Proteins are digested as peptides in the stomach and amino acids in the small intestine. Theoretically, it is safe. Otherwise, whatever chicken or beef you have eaten before, genetically modified or not, could change your genes unless you don't eat with your mouth. You eat straight into the bone marrow. Now that the primary safety issues has been addressed, why should consumers support GM foods if there are no significant benefit over conventional food? Why change our eating habit to buy meat? So why would we choose genetic modified food? For consumer, price is an important factor that leads us to consider buying. We can see this picture, which I downloaded in a shopping application that shows in the same brand. One is genetically modified and the other is non-genetically modified. Genetically modified oils are obviously cheaper. On the other hand, as I mentioned earlier, nutrition and taste are also important for food. Genetically modified technology can change our perception of some foods. Oranges can be cube, pear can be triangle, and so on. It can not only improve the shape of the food, make it look better, but also change the taste of food. Here, we have to mention one of our business terms, cost performance. Obviously, buying GM foods is more cost effective than buying non-GM food. Therefore, I support the continued development of GM technology.
Hello everyone, this is Patrick, and today I would like to discuss the perspective of governments about the GMOs, and I would like to ask a simple question, which is why governments support GMO sustainable development? And personally speaking, yes, and without any hesitation, because obviously the benefits of GMOs will be numerous, and it could use for different aspects. It could benefit for different aspects, such as the consumer, the farmers, the environment, and the economic. And first, initially, I would like to introduce the cross productivity of GMOs. Precisely, the yield of GMO crops are higher than the conventional crops by using the same cropland, and the pesticides will be no longer needed due to the fact that the GMOs crops are being modified into pest resistance, and more importantly, it uses less water, and which means that it provides an opportunity to the farmers to maximize their profit so that their incomes will be increased. The reason of it will be very simple, is that the cost of fostering GMOs crops will be lower than the cost of the fostering cost of conventional crops. I mean, and moving as for the aspect of environment, as I mentioned before, that using the cropland efficiently will be one of the advantage of created by GM crops. Consequently, the quality of the yields could be maintained by requiring fewer in-field operations and applications, despite the fact that the reductions of carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gases that produced by farming equipment would be a noticeable benefit, because additionally, carbon dioxide is stored in soil. Therefore, fewer passes means the less of release occurs there, so that the greenhouse effect could be reduced by fostering the GM crops. And moving to the next part will be the economic. And as we all know that there's lots of food shortage issues. In Africa, in some extreme weathers, they cannot foster the conventional food due to the bad weather, the lack of water, and so on. So that the GMOs could be able to help Africa's farmers, because they are required to use less water, as I mentioned before, and the liquidations of GM crops will be higher than the conventional ones, so that the food shortage issues would be able to solve by GMOs effectively. And more importantly, the health. Lots of people concerned about the health of GMOs, but I would like to admit that GMOs is totally safe for human being, because there's a lot of health testings conducted before and assessments to assess the GMOs, whether the GMOs is health and is edible for humans. But the answers will be yes, definitely yes, because the GMOs have passed the health assessments of global markets, which means that it is absolutely edible for the humans. More importantly, the GMO crops will be more edible than the conventional ones, because it contains more nutrition, more vitamins. As we all know that this is how GMO process, and the scientists combine different nutrition and vitamin into one crops, so that the consumers is able to consume some of the GMO crops in order to get their nutrition they want, the vitamin they want, with a lower price and less food. And also, moving to the conclusion part, and I would like to discuss the causes of objections of GMO. The most obvious ones will be the damage of environment, because some of the people's beliefs that GMOs could possibly to damage our environment because of their genetic is being modified. But as for scientists experts, this won't be a it won't be a part that concerned by the consumer, because most of the GMO crops has been modified by good genes, and it won't be hurt or damage of the environment. And moving to the second cause of objections would be the limitations of the biotechnology. And fortunately, there's a lot of scientists has been conduct some research to improve the limitations of biotechnology. Beyond that, I mean, it's in this global market, the GMOs has already passed the assessments of food testing, food health assessments. So they are talking about the long-term effect of biotechnology. But in the short term, the GMOs, fruits, GMO organisms will be definitely edible, and it will be benefit for our health. And moving to the last and main causes of objections will be the information failure, because there's a lot of consumers, they didn't know what's truly meanings of GMOs, how to create the GMOs to the existing market. I remember that there's a research conducted by some scientists, and it report and it depicts that some rats is being fed by GMO crops, and the research report that those rats are dead because of they eat the GMO crops. But after I detailedly searched for that case and studied that case, I realized that and noticed that those research is not definitely precise, because they do not report some basic details of the research. For example, what kind of GMOs that rats digest, and yes, and so on. And the health issues will be the most concernable part for the consumers. And as I mentioned before, the health issues won't be a problem, because the GMOs crops has been passed the assessments of health in the global markets, which means quite reliable. And as for the solutions of those objections, I would like to point out promotions of GMOs will be one of the biggest effective solutions, because promotions can create some good reputations for GMOs, and through the government, with the help of the governments, the promotion conducted by the government could able to establish a reliable image to the public, and furthermore, the government also can provide subsidy to the R&D company, which means that the company is able to conduct the improvement of the GMOs. For example, as I mentioned before, the limitations of biotechnology, without enough funds, they cannot solve that limitation in the long term. So the government should providing subsidy to the R&D company, and so that they are able to solve this kind of problem. And moving to the last one, the regulations of the GMOs. For example, the government point out some of the genes is being banned of insert on the GMO crops, because might be some of the genes is able to hurt our body, human being. So this is all I would like to discuss today, because according to a speech according to the thing that I mentioned before, and I would like to admit that the results of that questions will be definitely clear. So the government should support the GMO's sustainable development directly and without any hesitation, because comparing the limitations and the benefits of GMO, it could be easily found that the benefit of GMO is the limitations of GMO is consequential when it compared to the benefit of GMOs